Welcome to Never Too Late for Fitness Radio, bringing baby boomers proven strategies and innovative products for getting fit, staying fit, so you can live a longer, healthier, and happier life. Here's your host, best-selling author and fitness advocate, Phil Ferris.
This is Phil Ferris, and welcome to our show. Never Too Late for Fitness Radio provides answers and straight talk about fitness, nutrition, and healthy lifestyles for people over 50. Our goal is to educate and advocate health and fitness strategies that help you to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. On some shows, we feature everyday people like you and me who have acted and reclaimed their health and fitness. We all love a success story, especially if the person is facing the same challenges we are. Hearing real success stories helps inform, motivate, and inspire us to live a healthier life. On other shows like today's, we focus on health and fitness industry professionals who share how they help their clients who are over 50 achieve their goals. Katie Van Diggelen is the owner of Achieve Footwear in Crystal Lake, Illinois. She has been making sure her customers get the perfect shoe for their foot and their needs. With over 20 years experience, Katie has helped thousands of people avoid injury, relieve pain, and improve performance on the job and in their sports activities. Thank you for being on the show today, Katie.
Good morning, Phil.
So, Katie, you have a very large group of loyal customers that keep coming back to you year after year. What are the issues they face and why are they so loyal? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, because of the fact that they've been educated that wearing the proper footwear is the best way to go by measuring both feet. There's no 2 feet that are alike. They're like snowflakes. So when they are doing their daily jobs or they're doing their runs, they are realizing that they're having pain within their bodies. So when they come into the store and we use the old Brannick bar system when we measure them, they are measured with both feet. And then we interview them basically on what their lifestyle is and what they're doing. We bring out several pairs of shoes, we put them on them, and we determine a gait for balance. The better the balance on the feet, when you do movements, you have double bear weight. So the loyalty, once they're fitted properly, which they've never even had their feet measured properly, as opposed to going to a big box store, and then they become very loyal because they get their gait. When I say gait, I mean their balance of their body with their feet on the ground. It becomes equal from the feet to the ankles to the knees to the mid-back to the shoulders to the arms. So they believe that they get a better quality of life every day getting up and getting to their jobs or to their necessary needs.
So I want to focus a little bit because a lot of times people don't associate pains they have in their body with their shoes. And I see this at the health club all the time. And the first time when they come up to me and say, I'm having pain in my knees or I'm having pain in my joints, first thing I do is say, well, how old are your shoes? And, when was the last time you had them fitted? And so the thing you can maybe talk about are what are some of the common types of health problems or pain that people experience that they come to you for help for?
Well, it's basically the entire body. So again, when I say that, and I ask them what their lifestyle is or what they're doing, every step is double bear weight in their body. You need cushion stability for complete balance on both of your feet. And most of their pain, as they start, the body injury occurs, and I mean body injury, from the feet, the ankle, the shins, the knees, the hips, to the back, to the neck, to the arms. And a lot of them, they don't believe it until you look at their feet. The severity of either having hammer toes, bunions, arthritis, or they've already had a pre-existing knee injury or a wound that was many, many years ago. And now that they've either gained weight or they've changed their lifestyle or job or whatever it may be, they realize something's going on. And it usually 99% is based on the footwear. Through working with physical therapists, personal trainers, they can walk out the door and feel good, but then within 24 hours, it's because their footwear, they're not holding up their arch properly. So they'll come to us and say, and we interview them, like, what is your injury? And as soon as they say that, it all stems to the skeleton of the bone balance of their feet.
Now, can you maybe give an example of how you were able to alleviate some fairly significant pain from one of your customers just by changing their footwear.
Yeah, there is a word called pronation, where everyone has a little bit of pronation where the foot goes inward. So it's basically like your knee knocking. So when someone's running on a treadmill or walking in the zoo or just doing severely over excessive on a vacation to Walt Disney World, and they're doing major walking, imagine that knee going inward, outward, as opposed to a hinge. Your knee is a hinge. It should be going heel, big toe forward. And now you're going heel, inward, pounding on your first big toe, and that just causes the pain. So when they come into the store and you see that they have a bunion or they have friction, irritation on the big toe, immediately you know that they need stability in the arch. So right away we put them on an I-step machine, which is a machine in my store, or we can just severely see it, and we determine that they need more arch. So either we give them a shoe that has more stability with cushion, or they may even need more, so then we put an arch support into the shoe. We alternate by taking the inside liner out and putting it in and make them walk. And we don't have to say anything. The customer knows as soon as they feel relief, that's it. Our goal is to make life better for them, keep them active, keep them going to gyms, seeing their family, cooking in the kitchen. And when they get that, they get it. And it seriously is footwear. I've been in the industry for 30 years of the footwear, owned my store, and I could do testimonials of people once they get that lifestyle change. It's amazing.
There's a lot of misconceptions people have about shoes and shoe stores. They're not all made the same. So what are some of the biggest misconceptions people may have about footwear and the shoes that sell them?
It's usually the sizing. A lot of people think they're size 6 and they're not, or size 7. I've always been that my entire life. Well, that may be the truth in a certain shoe style or manufacturer, but every manufacturer has different lasts. They make the shoes with different forms. So just like clothing, you could buy a size 2 in the Italian size or a European number, but in the US it's a size 12. I tell people to get over the shoe size number, that every time you buy a shoe, you should have your foot measured. Sometimes you have that second toe that's longer and people are buying for the first toe, and that's how they get hammer toes. Everyone thinks that that's the size they are, but again, so they go and buy a size 7 and they're really a 7.5 or an 8, and people have to get over the fact that going from a 7 to an 8 is not a full inch. It's just that eighth of an inch, and sometimes you need it, that your foot has flattened down more, so you're not able to wear the same size, or you've gained weight and the foot has spread, or your foot has gotten flatter. There is no way that you are the same size that you've been your entire life due to the fact that the gait does change your body as you get older. So that is the biggest concern. Is a lot of people are shoving basically 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag. So they literally have to come and get sized, or they wonder why they have neuroma, which is, a pinching in between your third and fourth toe. It's because you're squeezing. And then imagine if you're squeezing your foot into a shoe because you think the tighter the better, your foot has to spread. And that's where, we come out with the New Balance shoes with the extra wides. The 2Es, the Ds, the 4Es, the 6Es. People are like, oh my God, but it looks like I'm wearing an orthopedic shoe. Well, you know what? That orthopedic shoe is for a reason. It's because your foot needs to spread to have a quality of life. People that have, been wearing too tight of shoes for years have got such foot damage. I work with podiatrists, the pediatricians. It's amazing how the foot damage has occurred because of improper foot sizing of the people themselves by going into big box stores. They just don't know that the stores out there, like myself, exist where we sit and fit and we take the time to talk to the customer, because once they are aware of the service, they do come back. I mean, they'll walk back into the store and say, I want the same thing, and just look in the database because they're so sold on the comfort of their life. Same thing with going to the gym. I tell them, you can go to the gym, but if you're not properly geared up with the right footwear, you're going to do injury, and that it stops, and we don't want it to stop. We want people to perform in a quality of life, and it starts from the feet.
Another misconception that I became aware of is that shoes themselves change. For a number of years, I had a shoe, a specific model, and it worked well. And then, one year they changed it slightly. And when I started wearing it, I started getting knee pain. And it was the same model number, but it was not the same shoe. And just
Correct.
the subtle change, and probably the change in my body probably also made it worse. So, I always get a New Balance or Saucony or Brooks or whatever brand model. They're always making slight changes to those shoes. And
correct.
And so again, it's fitting. I guess it's fitting it, but also fitting the foot to the shoe to make sure that it works in the showroom. Is that right?
That is correct, Phil, because the technology, as we all know, technology changes, and sometimes people don't like change. Well, they have to do the change because the shoes change. They've come up with better materials. They say that they need that eighth of an inch more of an angle in the shoe. That's why there's so many models and so many brands out there. And it is that you need to try them out. And when you find one, you stick with it. Or if the body's not working with that brand anymore, then you try a different brand. It's all called, there's free try-ons out there. You got to go and you got to do the try-ons. But trying them on yourself is not the way to go. You need to be properly fitted and educated. There are people that are not educated, many people that are not educated. Once they get educated, they're like, oh my God. So it does pay. You are going to pay a little bit more in a specialty store, but you're getting the service. There are people that I sell shoes to for steel toe, composite, slip resistant, that will just go to a big box and buy those shoes, and then they wonder why they can't stand wearing steel toes because they're not properly fitted. Once they're properly fitted, you have no injury. It's a guarantee. It's a win-win. That's why the podiatrist will do castings for the orthotics, or you go to an OTC, which is over the counter. The body, which is the gait, needs additional help. The ground is concrete and it's flat. Our feet are not flat. And if you do have a flat foot, you even need more support because the concrete hitting, there's no cushion. So yes, so when you see about the model changes, yes, and at the same point, when you wear a shoe for the length of time, some people overwear their shoes. So even then, when they wear it down so much that they feel like it's a slipper, so when they go to put a different shoe on, it's changed. But then again, their body has changed. They've worn out the shoe.
Yeah. How do you know if you've worn out the shoe? What's the lifespan of a typical shoe?
Well, sometimes it could be 6 to 8 months. It just depends. If you're a runner, your stride, you'd have to always look at the bottom. You'll know that you look at the track on the bottom of the shoe. If you've worn out, there's a metatarsal area, which is the middle center of your foot. If you've worn off the tread, there's no cushion. Or the fact is that people say the upper shoe, God, the shoe looks great. Yeah, but if the insole is looking like a yellow, it's called dry rot. You have no cushion. You have to remember it's rubber, so the air eventually gets to it and dries it out. And then you're literally, if you keep it long enough and you start walking, it starts crumbling. That's how some people think just because the upper leather looks good, the shoe does not last that long. Again, it's based on lifestyle. You could have a pair of shoes for 5 years that you only wear to funerals and weddings. A casual shoe, a running shoe that, depending on your stride, you only take it out to go train for a marathon, then you go back to a different shoe. But again, even though owning that shoe and hanging up in the garage saying, I only wear these shoes for marathons, they dry rot. It's rubber. The heat just kills the shoes. So most people, we educate them when they come in. They bought the shoe, feel how good it is. When you start feeling pain in your body, there's something wrong with the shoe. You've either worn it out lateral, which is the outer, like you're bull-legged, or you've worn it out medial, which is knee-knocking. Something in the shoe has changed because you compressed it not equal. Because once you walk out the store, you are equal, balanced. But if you start feeling pain like you're pushing outward or inward, think about it, you've taken that cushion and you've matted it, so now you're starting to angle more and more and more. And then again, you can always come back into the store and say, let's just check out the shoes, and we'll tell you if they're still good or bad. Or you may just need a new insole, or your body's changed. People come in and, they've lost weight, which is always a good thing. Well, the shoe's not going to fit if you had an extra wide shoe, and now you've lost weight, which is a good thing. Then you go into a narrower shoe. Or if you accumulated edema, which is, swelling, well, you don't have a narrow foot anymore. You have a wide foot. Don't shove it in there. Once again, your little bones, you got 28 little bones in your toes that people have to realize they're fragile. You're holding up 100, plus 200 plus pounds on the skeleton of your feet. Protect your feet. You only get one set.
Well said. And the other thing I found is that over the years, as my activities changed, the type of shoe I needed changed from, again, doing a lot of and basketball and running and sprinting, to then I'm switching to kind of just running and jogging, to now it's more coaching and walking. So the shoe had to fit the purpose for which I've done. Again, I start out by saying, this is what I've always used. And then, when the person asks me, well, what are you doing with your shoe? And then to find out, is that the right shoe for what you want to be doing?
Perfect example to that. A perfect example is, say, for the gym. People will come in and they think that using the treadmill, they need a walking shoe because they're walking on a treadmill. Well, necessarily that's not true, because a walking shoe is very stiff. And next thing, they find themselves walking a little bit faster and they need a little bit more cushion. So then in that terms, we figure out what they're doing, and we would actually sell them a running shoe. And most customers look at me and say, Kate, do I look like I'm a runner? And I look at them and laugh and say, no, not at all. But the running shoe is more cushion and neutral for you on a treadmill if you want to elevate it. So a lot of people are perceived differently, like they need to have a walking shoe to walk on a treadmill, or to walk, at the zoo, or to walk around a lake, or to walk just in the malls, or quality of life. That's not true. A running shoe is not necessarily just used for running. Now, you can't run in a walking shoe because it's too stiff, but you could surely walk in a running shoe because it's got all the qualities of double bear weight pounding. So imagine just the single weight of actually just doing the walk. So that, again, we have to educate the consumer, because they just look at you like, seriously, you're putting me in a running shoe? And I'm like, yeah, I am. And then they walk in and they're like, oh my God, it's like on the cloud. See, so again, the perspective of them not knowing the technology of just because of the wording, like a cross trainer. Anybody can wear the cross trainer. It's got great heel stability in the shoe, and it's used for basically a lot of stuff if the person needs it. But there are certain shoes, like you need a tennis shoe. There is a tennis shoe. That's where people will buy a running shoe for tennis. Absolutely not. There are reasons why there are shoes that are labeled tennis, for court. You've got football, you've got soccer, you've got pickleball. I mean, you're in court, so you can't use a walking shoe for that. You can't use a running shoe because it'll get torn up. So that's why there are classifications. And if you get educated, you'll succeed in your sport. You'll succeed in your fitness. Again, if people say they get hurt when they go into the gym, well, they're getting hurt. I'm telling you right now, it's because they're improper footwear. That's basically what it is. It's not that they've overlifted. They have basically not been performing their skeleton to the heel, big toe operation.
You've been in the footwear business for over 30 years.
Correct.
How did you get started?
Well, I actually was in the trade show business and did New Balance's trade shows, and then the store became available. And so New Balance is privately held by Jim Davis. So they said, Katie, you're good. We want you to, take over the store. And I was like, what? So I took over the store over 20 years ago, and I love it. I went and got certified as a pedorthist. I'm very active in the community. I do a lot of business with the chiropractors, the pediatricians, the podiatrists. I work with the hospitals for cardiologists. I do speeches. I just love it. I took it to a level that I thought I never would. But when you see that you help people, or the veterans, I do a lot with the veterans. When you feel that you're giving back to them of someone I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So I just got so into it. When you see the joy, or people send you flowers because their mother can now stand in the kitchen and cook that great meal again. Or the quality of life, they've taken snap pictures of when they've been to Disney World, said, oh my God, my dad made the trip, no bitchin', no wheelchair. It's amazing. And it all really does stem. And men are the worst. The women try to get their husbands into the store. They're like, oh God, this is just crazy. I can just go in and buy shoes. And once they do the drive and they get there, they're amazed. Literally, you can actually take the walker away from them in the store once they, I'm like, well, you can do it after you get out of the store, but the pain when you have hammer toes and they're digging into the ground, or your knees. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people live too much on medications today that they can lose weight, get control of a lot of their weight, like the gym, cardio. They have such a better quality of life. The tools are out there. They just have to choose to use them.
Yeah, and it is important, because especially when people this time of year, they're starting back up for their New Year's resolutions, they're starting back into working out. And one of the common obstacles they experience is injury. And so that stops them from making the progress they want. And then they kind of say, oh, well, I got to give up. And that's why a lot of people, they don't get through the first month of working out because they push it too hard and they aren't properly equipped, especially with shoes. So they're in pain. And nobody wants to go to the gym and be in pain. And yet if they just took the proper time and effort to get the proper shoes, they're going to be able to work out and not have that discomfort. And so that's not going to hold them back. They'll be able to push through their normal barriers and start getting the fitness goals that they want to achieve. So that's why it's really important, from my standpoint, is that people do have the right equipment, the right shoes, so they can get the most out of their workouts.
Yeah, they have to. They spend so much on memberships and their looking good outfits, as far as their spandex and their nice little jackets and shirts, but they don't really take the time out of the main tool of their feet is what's actually going to get them where they need to succeed, whether it's 5 pounds, 10 pounds, or just cardio, getting that, heartbeat up. And then what ends up happening is you don't see them coming back to the gym and you wonder why. It's because most injuries are either shin splints because the improper footwear. When they start running or even lifting, their foot is not properly balanced on the ground, so they actually have it's called a range of motion, which is bad. The range of motion is not good, and then that's where the shins come in and the knees. And then that injury takes forever to heal, and then by that time they're like, the weather's nice, and they're like, no more, back to the gym. They've lost that enthusiasm because they said, hey, I got hurt at that gym. They didn't get hurt at that gym. They hurt themselves by not doing the proper steps of really when you go to do think about your body, it's the footwear. You have to start thinking from the bottom up. Even like when you get out of bed. I mean, if you're not putting on slippers or something as arch support, you're going to be crawling to the bathroom. There's a lot of people that come in crawling into the store, and it's because they've torn the plantar or they've torn meniscus. They've done some kind of the Achilles. Yeah, it's because of when they've gone down at double bear weight, they've done the injury. But think about it, if you have the proper foot in the width and the support, that when you come land down on it, you should succeed. There's many people out there that have success stories of that when they were raised, their parents raised them saying the proper footwear for their kids. Yeah, they may pay a little bit more, but they say I inherited that bunny and I inherited those hammer toes. Well, I know I have 3 children and 3 grandbabies, and they have perfect feet when they were born. So what you do to your feet is from birth on. If they have perfect feet, their toes, the damage is done.
Yeah. So, Katie, most of my listeners don't live in the Crystal Lake area, and they still want shoes to fit. Are there some tips that you can give that would help them make sure that they do get a better fit when they go to other stores?
Yeah, they need to make sure that both of their feet are measured, because no 2 feet are alike. Everyone says, they measure their right foot, and their right foot may be the 7, but yet they could be left-handed and their left foot be much bigger because they're putting more weight on the left. They need to measure both feet and always go by the longest toe in the shoe box. In other words, like that second toe, they call it a Morton's toe, could be much longer. Well, if you're only sizing for the first toe, where's that extra length in that second toe going to go? That's where that hammer toe and that claw comes in. So please make sure that you cannot feel the tips of your toes within the side of the shoe. If you feel them inside the tip of in the box of the shoe's too short. And if the shoe, when you're walking, feels really, really slippery, it's too wide. It needs to just fit like a glove around your foot and then the length. If you have a slippage in the back, that's okay a little bit. Everything's got to be tight. The only ones who wear tight shoes are soccer players because they got to kick with their feet. They don't want their shoe to fall off. So you do have to have some kind of slippage somewhere because, again, your foot has to breathe and move within a shoe. So you'll know if your foot is not properly fitted, tell them to try on a different one. Maybe try to go a little bit narrow, try to go shorter, and then you'll know because you're the one who has the feel. We could feel it. You have to be like a thumb length away from it. Some people say, oh my God, that's too big. It's not. Once again, when you put your foot down, you double bear it. The big hint is take the shoe liner out of the shoe, put your foot on top of it, and it should tell you yourself visually if it's sized right.
Okay, that's a good tip. That's something that anybody can do at any store.
Yep.
And the other thing is if I know that I've had friends that get caught up with this. They say, well, it didn't fit, but I like the way they looked. And the most important thing in buying a shoe is, does it fit right? And if you're in the store and it doesn't quite feel right, find another shoe, because you'll pay the price in discomfort or health challenges down the line. No matter how good no matter how good it looks, you still have the body that you're going to be damaging with it.
Podiatrists and surgeons love those fashion queens and kings.
Now, Katie, kind of in summary, what's probably the biggest lesson that you've learned about in your footwear career that you could share, kind of words of wisdom to share with my listeners?
That the importance, I never knew. I mean, I was raised, and my mother raised in a family of 9. We always had great shoes. She always spent the money. We always got sized. And I never really, we're like, all right, we're going to the Brown shoe store. Never did we go to a Sears or, that's what was there back then, Sears, JCPenney's. But we never went to the stores like that. We went to the Brown shoe stores, the family-owned shoe stores. We all went and lined up. We were measured. Never had hand-me-downs, ever. Never were given hand-me-downs because the importance of your feet. She got it. She educated us, and I did that same thing with my children. And I hope that people really realize when they get dressed or they shower that they look at their feet. Their feet are so important. I've learned that over the years, and I've seen it. I mean, I can actually, it's sad, but every time I go out, I look at people when they walk, and I go, oh, my God, I could save that person. They're like, Mother? Don't. I'm like, it's just, yeah. And I go, oh my gosh, he's wearing the wrong shoes, or he's blowing out of them, or you get to that point in life, and that's where I've gotten, is that when you look at people walk, it's like you could tell the ones that are educated and the ones that aren't educated, and that's what I see as the best thing that I've gotten out of my career, is that I'm helping people. And, I've gotten the award, the starfish, one starfish at a time you save. Well, I save one person at a time as they walk in the door, or I go out. I go out and do sales. I go out to health and wellness fairs. I go to businesses with shoe mobiles to help want people to show up for work. When people don't show up for work, it's because they're standing on their feet so many hours, and it hurts. I get it. And so they don't want to be not at work. They want to be at work. They need a paycheck. But they're getting injured, and they're not understanding why. It's like, their back hurts. So I've learned all of that through thousands of people that have walked in my door, and just been educated through other doctors as well. So I love it, and I have the passion for it, and I work 7 days a week doing it.
And what's also interesting is everybody on your staff is also trained to do what you do, to do a proper fit. They have a specific training that you give them all to make sure that they have that dialogue with the customer, to make sure that they understand what their needs are before they start bringing out all the shoes.
Correct. They are pro care fit specialists, so they are professionally go through a video training. They know all the diseases and the ailments of the feet. And when the doctors send in prescription pads, they are educated to read it and understand what the doctor's requesting that the patient has. And if it's over their head, like an amputee or a diabetic ulcer, then it comes into the level where they make an appointment with me, and it's all free. They make the appointment so that I make sure that I take care of them to a higher level of standards, because of the fact that it's a bigger injury.
Okay. Now, I understand that you're going to be participating in the Healthy New You Health and Fitness Expo in Crystal Lake on January 25th. Can you tell us a little bit about the event and what they can expect at your booth?
I'm going to have shoes there that I'll display to show the technology in shoes as to why the shoes are important. And, I'll have stylish shoes there too. But the stylish shoes too, they have medial lateral support. You can still wear a high heel, but if you put a 3/4 insole in there. I'm also going to have the iStep machine there, so people, if they feel they want to stand on it, they can visually see. And then I'm going to have insoles there, whether I'm going to sell the insoles or not, or they can come to the store. I mean, I'll have them on site where I can put the insole in their existing shoe that they have, just to show that it's not always necessary that you have to buy a certain brand shoe, but you can add a tool. So we call them appliances. You add appliances within the shoe, whether it be a heel grip, an arch support, that you can make comfort out of a shoe. And so I'm there to educate them. And once they get that correct feel, then they'll get it. Again, it's all the feeling in their foot. You have so many nerves in the feet that if you can relieve some of the tension, that some of them don't even know that they have that tension, and then they're like, wow, I get it. So I'm there to educate them as they come and walk the show and let them know I'm just not a shoe store. I'm a specialty shoe store. I offer a lot of services that are free to keep people moving.
Okay. Now that's the Healthy New You Health and Fitness Expo on January 25th from 9 to 4 at the Holiday Inn Crystal Lake. The event is free, and there will be fun activities for all the family. Now, Katie, if people want to learn more about you or come to your store, where would they go for information?
Well, I'm hoping they're all going to, let's do get a better you in 2020, and they can get fitted at my store, Achieve Footwear in Crystal Lake. I'm in the Crystal Lake Plaza, which is off of Keith Avenue and Route 14, which is also known as Northwest Highway. And I'm open 7 days a week, so you can call the store to make appointments with me, or just to find out what hours that if you have an AFO or something that needs to be specialty serviced. But again, 7 days a week, Monday through Friday is 10 to 7 p.m. And then Saturday is from 10 till 6 p.m. and Sunday is from 11 to 5. And we are open 7 days a week because we need to be open 7 days a week.
Great. Okay, thank you so much for sharing your information and your passion, and thank you for helping so many people move better and feel better and live a better quality of life.
Thank you, Phil.
Have a great day, Katie.
You too. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Never Too Late for Fitness Radio, hosted by Phil Ferris. To learn more about the guests or resources on our show today, or to listen to past episodes, go to nevertoolateforfitness.com.